So we all saw Errol Spence call out Manny Pacquiao in the ring following his victory over Mikey Garcia. Pacquiao obviously holds a version of the welterweight title, as does Errol Spence. They're both with Al Heyman, both PBC. From a financial point of view, business perspective, yeah, it makes sense to do the fight. They would continue to build Errol Spence as a pay-per-view star, and I'm sure Spence versus Pacquiao would be pay-per-view, and it would almost certainly be in Texas again, because he was able to pack out, I mean, not pack out, he wasn't full, but he was able to put quite a few people in that stadium in Dallas. So, yeah, it makes sense that they would have Errol Spence versus Pacquiao. But if we look at the fight from a stylistic point of view, I guess it's quite interesting. I would be picking Errol Spence and I'd be favoring him strongly to win that fight. But Manny Pacquiao would certainly be, at least in my opinion, more competitive than Mikey Garcia was. He might not be as tough as Garcia in terms of if he's taking a beating. He might get pulled out. I know he's a warrior, but potentially he could get pulled out. Potentially he could get stopped if he's taking a beating. But I expect him offensively to have a little bit more success. But with that being said, when's the last time Manny Pacquiao fought a southpaw? Off the top of my head, I can't even think. Has he even fought? I mean, you know, he must have fought some southpaws, particularly when he was, you know, early on in his career when he was fighting in the Philippines. He must have fought some southpaws then. But at championship level, when he moved to the United States, has he fought any southpaws? David Diaz was a southpaw, but when was that? That was like flipping 10 years ago or something, or more than that. So in recent memory, I don't think Pacquiao's fought any southpaws. And as far as Errol Spence, he fought Van Heerden, who was a southpaw, although, you know, nothing like Manny Pacquiao. And he might have fought one or two journeymen on the way up who were southpaws. But yeah, Spence himself doesn't have really a lot of experience with southpaws. So it would be quite interesting to see the two southpaws try and solve the other one out. Who can get their big left hand off? Again, I would favor Errol Spence strongly in the fight. And I don't know why the Terence Crawford-Manny Pacquiao fight didn't happen for certain. But if it was Bob Arum who blocked that fight, and I think he might have admitted recently that he had some influence in blocking the fight. If it was him, then I guess it's honorable, right, to protect Pacquiao like that. But from a business perspective, he missed a trick there, because that was a passing of the torch fight between Pacquiao and Terence Crawford. And now that Pacquiao's with Al Heyman, he gives Heyman the opportunity to have the passing of the torch fight with Errol Spence beating Manny Pacquiao. You can see what they're doing with him here. They're trying to build him as a star, and he might be the next star in American boxing. I've said for a long time, I like Errol Spence. I think he, you know, up until the past year or so, he's had a great attitude in and out of the ring. And when I say up until the past year or so, you know, we saw him out drinking, looking a bit overweight and stuff like that not too long ago. But hopefully he's knocked that on the head and left that behind him, and he's back to his old spitting sawdust, never out of shape kind of ways. So I like his attitude. I think he's very talented. I think his determination and his mindset is as good as any skills that he has in the boxing ring. So I think the guy can go a very long way. And I think he's a problem for everybody at 147 pounds, maybe even a problem for most of the guys at 154. We'll see. We'll see. Those guys at 154 are very, very big, though. I mean, the likes of Munguia, Jamel Charlo, you know, those guys, Jarrett Hurd, they're very, very big guys. I mean, even Tony Harrison's a pretty big guy. So it remains to be seen if he can deal with the size difference stepping up to 154. But he's got plenty to take care of at 147 first. And yeah, Pacquiao would be a logical step. Now, is it the ideal fight in terms of best fighting the best? I don't think so. I think Manny Pacquiao was way past his prime. And again, it's being set up as a passing of the torch fight. But these fights happen, you know, these passing of the torch fights. Pacquiao still has a belt at the end of the day. So you can't hate the fight that much, you know, because it's a guy consolidating a couple of belts. I know Spence was given some kind of WBC diamond belt or some nonsense like that for the Mikey Garcia fight. So I guess he has that too, for whatever the hell that's worth. WBC just like making up belts for particular fights. Yeah, but from a style point of view, it might be interesting for a little bit. The two southpaws clashing and going at it, dealing with the angles they're not used to dealing with. But ultimately, I think Errol Spence is just going to be too big, too young, too fresh, too strong for Manny Pacquiao. You know, again, I do expect Pacquiao offensively to have a little bit more success than Mikey Garcia did, but ultimately to succumb to the truth. I don't think he'll be able to handle the truth. You know, I think the truth will hurt him. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are you upset by the prospect of Errol Spence versus Manny Pacquiao? Do you think that this is shameless by Al Heyman trying to sell this as a pay-per-view? Or do you understand the process they're going for? At the end of the day, if you don't like any pay-per-view, just don't buy it, you know. But for me, as somebody who wants to see a resurgence in American boxing, I can understand what they're trying to do with Spence here. Yeah, I obviously don't like the fact that they charge so much for the pay-per-views in the United States, because that doesn't really help when it comes to trying to grow the sport, the popularity, etc. I prefer the zones model. But be that as it may, they seem to be having some success with Spence at the moment, you know. How many did they get in there in the AT&T Stadium? I saw a figure a second ago. Where was it? 47,000. That's a very good crowd. I mean, who outside of Canelo in the United States can draw 47,000 people? Obviously, there was a lot of Mexicans there for Mikey Garcia too. But, you know, Spence would have won a few fans. I know people are accusing him of being a weight bully and all this kind of stuff. And that's fair criticism. But didn't Canelo do the same? Didn't Triple G do the same? If it's good enough for the goose, isn't it good enough for the gander? You guys can answer that question in the comment section below. And again, let me know how you feel about this potential showdown. Do you think it will happen next? How upset are you by it? Or, you know, like me, you may feel it's not the greatest matchup out there, but it is for a belt. And it's part of a process of building Errol Spence as a pay-per-view fighter and building him as an American superstar. America needs superstars, people. That's what it needs in boxing. It needs a fighter, American born and bred, who can inspire the next generation to take up boxing. That's what it needs. And maybe Errol Spence can be that guy. He has the talent. So if he's pushed the right way, you know, maybe it can happen. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's Sam and I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.